Good evening. This is Danny Morrow in Tucson, Arizona. My email address is Danny, D-A-N-N-Y .marrow, M-A-R-R-O-W @gmail.com. My Skype ID is Danny, D-A-N-N-Y .marrow, and my cell phone is 520-390-1393. Greetings to my fellow Americans in Boston, Massachusetts. My deepest condolences is extended to those that were wounded, murdered, and various limbs that were blown off by these Muslim terrorists. It is certainly strange to me that this administration in the Oval Office in Washington, D.C. don't seem to know the difference between a terrorist act and an act of private citizens. My opinion, any American citizen that condones terrorist activity and are involved in terrorist activity are on a battlefield fighting American soldiers should lose their right as an American citizen and be tried as a terrorist combatant. That's what should be done. I don't get it. Defense attorneys in America are useless. All they want to do is be paid by the taxpayers' money to run a defense case in a court system that lasts months to get a conviction, which is their object not to get a conviction, but to get this person not receive the death penalty, which doesn't make sense to me. These defense attorneys do nothing but lie. Lie, lie. In the case of Jodi Arias in Phoenix, Arizona court, the defense attorney has been lying for 4 months. This is a woman that confessed to stabbing her boyfriend 29 times, cutting his throat from ear to ear, and shooting him in the head with a pistol. And the defense attorney is lying, he's not fighting, he's lying and misconstruing the evidence to try to get her saved from the death penalty. She deserves the death penalty. She should be given the death penalty, and as one United States American citizen, I have no sympathy for her. Zero sympathy. I would applaud if I could get to the prison when she's executed. I hope is executed. I could very easily sit there and applaud that she's being executed. It makes no sense whatsoever for the courts to say, well, or the defense attorneys, well, we're trying to save her life. Well, what about the man that she brutally murdered? What about his life? What about his family? And now she's going to be sitting in prison for years before she probably is ever executed, if it gets that far. And she's going to be eating good, living good, a roof over her head, medical attention, all of that. And one reporter said that she has a girlfriend in the prison system. So she's got all the creature comforts she needs. And then if they give her 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, that's not going to help bring her boyfriend back to life. And that's not going to help the family who lost their son. The justice system in America has come to a point, the defense part of it, so it's a laughing joke. Literally a laughing joke. You're not getting justice. You're having defense attorneys lie through their teeth. And of course, we, the American people, are paying the taxes for these liars to go on and drag out a case in court for months, sometimes years. Here's another example of the wonderful criminal defense system. There was an obese man who murdered and, as I understand, raped a young girl 29 years ago. And he sat on death row for 29 years. And the mother of that raped young girl or woman had been waiting for 29 years for him to be executed. Well, the governor of a state commuted his sentence to life because the man was obese. He weighed hundreds of pounds, 600, 500 pounds, and they said that they couldn't execute him for that reason, and they commuted him to life. Well, apparently in his 29 years, he's been eating good. He's had all medical attention he could have, and he's had a place to sleep. Meanwhile, the poor people in the poor mother is deprived of her beloved daughter, and this guy is sitting back like nothing happened. We have to change our criminal system and get away from this giving somebody 100 years or 50 years or 300 or 400 years. We need to have a criminal system installed that when you're convicted of the murder or murders, you will be executed forthwith. Forthwith. I'm getting personally sick and tired of defense attorneys dragging out these convicted felons of murder and rape and pedophilia for years and years and years. And they are getting paid by the state to do that. It's ridiculous. And now in Boston, Massachusetts, congratulations to the police departments that work together, and congratulations to the FBI and the Secret Service and other people in law enforcement that came together as a unit and located this last terrorist after his brother, older brother, had been killed by him. The younger brother said the police killed his older brother. No, they didn't. He ran over his older brother. He killed his older brother, not the police. And then he gets shot up, allegedly is shot through the neck and shot in the leg, and I think another shot in his body or two. And now they've appointed a defense attorney to defend him, and they're saying that they're not going to give him, charge him as a terrorist. Well, what else is he? What else is he but a terrorist? He is a Muslim. He's a terrorist. He's supports Islam, was active in a local Muslim group, synagogue, or whatever they call it, mosque, active in a, excuse me to Jews, forgive me for using synagogue, there's no comparison, but anyway, he was active in a mosque there in the area that he was living. He is a U.S. citizen. My conclusion, he should lose his U.S. citizenship and be charged as a terrorist and a combatant terrorist. There's no other word for this. You cannot put this man in a category of a United States citizen and extend to him the rights of an American citizen. Here's another thing. The administration that's in office in Washington, D.C. at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, every terrorist act, let's go back to Guantanamo, Cuba. This administration wanted to bring these combatant terrorists to trial in New York City. And fortunately, we have some American citizens left in New York City who rose up and says, no, you're not. They are combatants. They're going to be tried by the military at Guantanamo Bay. Because had they brought those men here, and women, if there are any, here to New York City, a $50 New York defense attorney would have got most of them off of their charges and they would have been set free. My opinion is that's what the current alleged President of the United States at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue intended to happen. That's what he wanted to happen. Then we had the Fort Hood, where a terrorist screaming the epitaphs of terrorists and had connection to terrorists. He says, this administration says that was workplace violence. This was a terrorist that killed 12 of our fellow soldiers, our fellow citizens. And to this date, they still have not brought that man to trial. Delay, delay, delay. And he screamed that he was doing this killing in the name of Allah, the false god of Islam. Then we go to the various other bombings, or attempted bombings. There was another attempted bombing in New York. The guy couldn't get the bomb to start. And then the man on the airplane that had a bomb in his underwear, and another guy that had a bomb in his shoes. These people were patted on the hand. Tell me what good it did to sentence them to long terms in prison. Even the blind sheik. What good did it do to sentence these people to a long prison term? He was instrumental in bombing up the building in New York City, and he got a slap on the hand. All of these people were terrorists fighting for a foreign religion and using violence for that foreign religion, which is Islam. And you can call them jihadists. They're no more jihadists than a cat is. They are Muslims. They are members of the Islamic religion, and the people in the countries that they came out of have never risen up as a people and objected to their violence. And then this man at the White House in Washington, D.C., he goes to visit Egypt, gives a great speech in Arabic that the United States would never go to war with Islam. Well, dummy, we're at war with Islam. And then he bows to the king of Saudi Arabia. I wouldn't bow to the king of Saudi Arabia if he was going to personally give me $10 trillion. He's not worth being bowed to, period. Or any other dictator, because that's what he is. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, I extend my condolences to the almost 200 people that were wounded. I extend my condolences to the family who lost their loved one, the young Chinese girl, the young American girl, and the young 8-year-old boy that lost his life just going to a parade. That's all he went. He went to see a marathon and a parade and gets killed for it. By terrorists! 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 Muslim terrorists! The major Muslim terrorists at Fort Hood. The two recruiting army recruiters murdered by a Muslim. The guy that tried to put a bomb off in Times Square. A Muslim. Can't you get it through your brain? We are at war with Muslims. And it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. I gave it YouTube months ago. This was going to happen. Not that Pacific event, but what you see every day in Palestine, in Israel, in Libya, in other places that are Arabic. You see this go every day on the news, how people are blown up by the hundreds. Syria using tanks, using fighter aircraft to kill their own people by the thousands. The Shiites, which is the head is in Iran, and the Sunnis, which the head is in Saudi Arabia, have been killing each other for 2,000 years. And we go and we think we're going to stop that? You're out of your mind. It's been going on for 2,000 years. It may very well go on for another 2,000 years and it won't be stopped. As long as there's two clashing religious organizations, the Sunnis and the Shiites, it won't end until either one or both are all dead. That's when it'll end. But it won't end before then. And yet we sit back thinking we're going to bring peace to the Middle East. You might as well smoke pot and get stoned. You might as well do that, and then you'll know that you get something out of it. But if you think you're going to stop the killing, and I'm not advocating pot, don't misunderstand me, but if you think you're going to stop the killing from the Shiites and the Sunnis, you are out of your mind. You're out of your mind. It will not happen. And now they're going to try this boy, this young man in Boston, as a U.S. citizen in a civil court. What a joke. What a joke. It's the same thing that Barack Hussein Obama has been doing since he became the alleged president of the United States of America. He does everything he can to protect the Muslims, to protect the terrorists. Look at the guy in Chicago who hates Jews, who hates Christians, and continuously berates with language on radio every single day. And Barack Obama has a picture with him, and his wife has a picture with this man's wife on time, like there's nothing wrong with him. That guy in Chicago, the head of the Islamic Nation, is much a terrorist as any terrorist that sets off a bomb. He hates Jews, he hates Christians, and doesn't bite his tongue about it. And yet, this terrorist in the White House supports him, supports his wife, as if they're not doing anything wrong. This man, the head of the Islamic Nation, has done everything in his power to provoke, along with the Black Party people, a national war between the races. And the former pastor of Barack Hussein Obama did the same thing. For 20 years, Obama sat under that rhetoric promoting a race war and telling how hateful he is towards the United States government. Now, I know people will say, well, we got freedom of religion, or we got freedom of speech. We got freedom of speech as long as people at the Nation of Islam do it, as long as the Black Party people do it. But if anybody who is not in those organizations rise up with provocative speech, they would be arrested. But they did nothing and do nothing to these people. Down in Florida, a man shot a 19-year-old boy, killed him because he was trying to kill him. And the Black Party wanted to put out a posse to capture this boy and kill him. That's what they tried to do, the man that shot the young boy. That was wrong. The Black Power people have no right to put together vigilante people and put up a $10,000 reward and all of that. Who are they? Nobody. And the American people didn't rise up and say one word about it. And they should have. Al Sharpton participated in that. Jesse Jackson participated in that. And those two about as worthless as a $1 bill. Both of them. All these people have used race and left-wing politics, which in my opinion is Communist Party politics, to divide and pit the Americans against each other, trying to stimulate a race war. Ladies and gentlemen, you the people are the ones that have the power. The FBI, the local police, and so forth do not have the power. Not even the President of the United States has the power. And if everybody in the state of Massachusetts had any genitalia and would rise up and protest at the gate of the White House, we want this man tried as a terrorist and not as a U.S. citizen, then maybe we will start getting some things done in this ridiculous defense circus in the courts of our country. Thank you for listening.